Welcome back everybody, Nathan Masters again with another ideas discussion. Today we're going to be looking at the 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10th projects out of this list of 25. Previous video was about half an hour and covered the first 5. I think I did spend a little more time discussing the Coliseum and the police station, so hopefully this video can move a little bit quicker. But I did want to spend time and look at each project that passed this stage, passed the support stage, and is now in the review stage. We will get the results for this list of 25 in summer 2021. So just a quick overview of the ones I'm looking at today. The Starbug, Avatar, Classic Castle, MRI Machine, and Lighthouse. Once again, there are some things that I'll be referencing, but this time I didn't pull up too much material. I just wanted to talk through the different projects. Just from what I know, like my background, something that I didn't want to do is go and research a bunch to like try to understand where some of these projects are coming from. I think that's a good thing to do if you want to know more about it, but just from my perspective, like to the typical Lego fan, even though we all have different backgrounds, but from my perspective, what does this project mean to me, without going into any of that research, and just like what in the world is a red dwarf starbug. Although I have read the comments on this article on Brickset, which you can find the link to this article in the description below, along with some timestamps to kind of navigate, but the comments do help provide a little bit of context here. So having read those, I do know a little bit more than I did before I read this article. For example, the Red Dwarf Starbug is based on a television show from the UK. If I remember correctly, it was a couple days ago that I read these. But if I live in the US, I didn't have any idea what this would have been if it weren't for reading the comments. So why is it here on Ideas with 10,000 supporters? Well, apparently it's very popular over in the UK, over there across the pond, as they say. So, if you have enough audience from the UK supporting this project, then, 10,000. If you know what you're doing on social media these days, that's not very hard to rack up that many votes. Which does lead to another point about ideas. Is 10,000 too few? Is it too easy to get a project supported? More discussion on that on some of the other ones coming up that I'm going to be talking about. For the Starbug, chances of this becoming an official set, as it is, very slim. It's just a very part-intensive model. It looks great. I'm sure it's an accurate representation of whatever this is supposed to be. I think it's a spaceship. So Bob's Vintage Bricks has a very nice design here. However, I think this is more of a mock than something that LEGO would want to take and run with as a product. If the Starbug did become a LEGO product through Ideas, I think we would see big change with this. But compared to the other 25 on this list, it's just not something that I see becoming a product for this wave. Number 7, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Yip Yip by Studio T. Rico, or Rico. Really nice model here with Appa, and I'm counting 6 of the cast from the show. I have seen Avatar. I've seen the entire series once through. I don't think I've done any rewatching, but this was about 3 years ago, so more familiar with this show. And the thing that stands out from this submission is Appa. It's a really well done rendition of the flying bison, and the posability here, the updated parts, the part in the color palette from the last couple of years do bring a lot to this model. So this is one that I think LEGO should do. I think there's audience for it. In fact, LEGO used to have the Avatar: Last Airbender license. I think they only released 2 sets in the theme, and it didn't do very well. I think it was competing with SpongeBob at the time, so maybe a bit of an unfair release for Avatar. I think LEGO should give it another chance, and if they do pick up this model, I would like to see minimal changes. I'd be okay without having the stand, but I think this is a really well done bison, well done version of Appa. The scale may be a little bit large, but if my memory serves correctly, he was a pretty large creature in the show, so It would be a larger set if they did release everything as pictured here. Again, having that license in the past, I think Lego didn't quite give the minifigs justice on that line of, I think it was just the 2 sets. So we didn't get a lot of the characters from the show, and the characters that we did get could see vast improvement today if this was released 2021 or 2022. So yeah, I'd like to see this one go through. I think it has the potential to, but again, just looking at the entire lineup of these 25, maybe not having the best chance that it would have a couple years ago on ideas when there weren't as many projects going through with the 10,000 supporters. But I think it does stand a pretty good chance compared to some of the other ones. So Avatar, Last Airbender, yep. I'd like to see this one go through, maybe without the stand, maybe with a slightly smaller version of Appa. Might happen. We'll have to wait and see. Number 8, The Classic Castle by Derboor. Derboor. Not sure if I'm supposed to spell that out or say it. Alright, here's an example of kind of jumping off of the momentum from Pirates of Barracuda Bay. We had an idea submission that really looked at what it was to approach a classic LEGO theme with an updated mindset. And the original submission was more of an island fortress than a pirate ship. But when LEGO picked up that idea and decided to make that into a product, they decided to go with the 2-in-1 approach, and the island fortress was still part of the final product, but it was configured in such a way that you could take apart the main sections and rebuild that into the Pirates of Barracuda Bay pirate ship. And that's been hugely successful. If you've looked at some of the polls on Brickset, on Rebrickable, just kind of the response of the LEGO community was very popular set last year, and the Classic Castle does fall into that niche of, revisiting LEGO's older themes and the things that they did so well in the 80s and 90s, and kind of bringing that into the 21st century, into 2021 now with this ideas project. So the Classic Castle is something I'd love to see, and I think because of the success of Pirates of Barracuda Bay, this has one of the best chances of this entire list to be released as a set. Again, like Pirates of Barracuda Bay, I think if LEGO does carry this one into the approval stage and starts to look at the production, we're going to see some large changes. Although as it stands, this isn't too far from something I would expect to see on a LEGO product. One of the things we've noticed when LEGO updates ideas projects is they like to add some more color and kind of the vibrance of the model, which is more appealing just from a product standpoint as a toy, as LEGO is still at the forefront of toy company. So yeah, they really embrace their brighter color palettes. Some of the larger scale, kind of almost adult mock creations that make it through ideas this far are usually more of a dulled down, earthy tones, darker. Thinking back to the original Pirates of Barracuda Bay, it was very dark brown, a lot of sand, a lot of green, kind of toning that down. Does look more realistic, but from a product perspective and from like the LEGO heritage perspective of what makes a LEGO set so iconic, it was lacking that just flair, that color, that style, that charisma that LEGO wants to put in every set and make that such an iconic product. So the Classic Castle here, well on the way to becoming a final LEGO product, but I think if this gets picked up, we'll see some minor adjustments, probably a little more color and a few less masonry bricks, because there's a lot in here. LEGO doesn't like building walls solidly out of masonry bricks. They like to put them kind of in between the regular bricks, and more of a suggestion of texture rather than just applying that texture to the whole product. Pretty cool. Classic Castle would be on the bigger end, and I would consider buying that idea set if it went through. Have to wait and see. Number 9, Open MRI by Apollo X Conde. What is this? What am I looking at? This is one of the things that you kind of look at and wonder, how did this reach 10,000 supporters on ideas? And there isn't really a straightforward answer. I think it goes back to what I mentioned just a couple minutes ago about how well you can use social media and networking to just build support, and it starts to bring into question, is that support becoming meaningless? Is it just, someone reaching out and just getting as many people as possible to vote for something, whether it's actually a good product idea or not? There's a lot of things to address about this project, and man, where to even start with OpenMRI? All right, let's start with what it's intending to be. This is supposed to be a Lego representation of a piece of hospital equipment, medical equipment known as an MRI. It's a way to do a scan, a full body scan, and really take a detailed look at what's going on inside a living human body without doing any damage. I think specifically it helps to look at brain function. So a nice idea for a Lego project. I think this would be better suited if you're going to build an MRI, make it kind of a smaller part of a hospital, maybe not so much of a standalone thing by itself. So the product that it's based on, the actual object it's based on, could make for a decent Lego model, probably at a smaller scale in my opinion. So just looking at the image here, one of the features it's advertising is a magnet inside. Now Lego and magnets go back. They've kind of had magnets in their train line, in their Aqua Raiders. They had the containers with the magnet on there. And even last year, 2020 City Sets had a big yellow 4x4 magnetic tool that was kind of like their helicopters could come by and pick up a crate with this magnet. So we have seen new magnet elements recently introduced as of last year. So that, the magnet inside thing, maybe not such a big of a deal as people would think about having a non-plastic item in a Lego product. You'd have to be careful just in terms of when Lego puts a magnet in their pieces, in their products, they want it to be able to be integrated with the system. So the old magnets in trains had kind of two little pins that could clip in, and there were several, I think there were at least 4 different pieces that could accept this magnet piece. So it did have a wide variety of application, and you could switch that in and out no problem. So that fit into the system well. Other magnets throughout the theme, like the one from last year in City, have been able to be integrated with the system. So having a magnet inside is not an issue if you make it like a standard Lego piece that could maybe be used in other themes. But if it's a very specific magnet that could only be used in a set like this, I think that's where there's an issue, and that's why Lego doesn't necessarily create very specific molds and parts for everything that would necessarily be benefited by it in some of their licensed themes. And some of their other themes, they are getting a little bit more just branching out in terms of what they'll make a unique mold for and create new parts for, and we've seen that within the past couple of years. So as an ideas project, the OpenMRI, it needs a lot of polishing to get to the point where it would even be something that I would expect to see at this point in ideas, as this just looks unfinished to me. Maybe it's a start of something that could have been a nice product, and like some of the other ones in this list of 25, just because of where it's at, and like, what is this thing with eyes? I don't understand. This has got to be close to the bottom. I don't think we're going to see this move at all. And then addressing that question in the first place, how did this reach 10,000 supporters? I think it does go back to just the kind of network you're able to build. How many different platforms are you pushing your idea out on? Like advertising your product on Facebook and YouTube, and trying to put it up where people can see it, and then asking them to go and support your idea on the platform. I think that's something that happens a lot. And I'm going to be honest, if I was in LEGO Ideas and created something, I would probably make a video about it for this channel. Possibly in the future, it might happen, but I think to reach 10,000 supporters is usually an indicator that you have something that a lot of people would like to see in a LEGO set. And it's just a question of, you know, does that really mean 10,000 people want to buy a LEGO MRI that looks like this? And I don't think it does. I think this is a case of just kind of brute forcing a project through using social media and using these networks, and maybe looking at, I think there was an announcement about LEGO wanted to change some of the ideas policies because there were now so many projects reaching 10,000 supporters, and projects like this make you wonder how they got that far. I won't say any more about that for now. Maybe we'll come back to that. Number 10, the Motorized Lighthouse by Roses Must Build. What a beautiful set. This is a very nice looking project. At this point it's a mock because it hasn't been approved. The motorized aspect, on this right side here we have an image of the actual light function is going on, so possibly there's also a light up here in the top, which would be very cool. This is something that I could see kind of filling the shoes of Old Fishing Store now that that has come and gone. Old Fishing Store is pretty popular, and I think this could be as well. It's pretty large for what it is. I think if Motorized Lighthouse was moved ahead with production, it would get scaled down a little bit as well. But this scale does allow some pretty interesting details with the windows in the tower. Another thing here is maybe the shaping, the curve shaping of the tower. It looks like it's very part intensive, using some of these curved slopes and some studs not on top techniques with the kind of shaping on there. I think if LEGO did this, they would probably want to go with some of their preformed pieces that form enclosed cylinders. So the one at this scale that they would probably use is the 4x4 quarter cylindrical panel. They use 4 of those to make a complete cylinder. I think they would use those and make a stack, and then for the windows they would have a sticker sheet. So stickers not very popular with a lot of people. So the Motorized Lighthouse, just in terms of the chances of this going through into approval, pretty good, I think. I think this is something that Ideas is well suited for. Lighthouses, we have seen quite a few of those, especially in the creator theme. So we've seen some at a smaller scale. I think a large scale lighthouse would be cool to see out of Ideas. And some of the techniques on here may be a little bit advanced. I think LEGO would tune this down. But a lighthouse at this scale or slightly smaller, not out of the picture for this round of Ideas. So that's 6 through 10. 5 more Ideas projects from this wave. Again, we looked at the first 5 in the previous video, and the next video will have another series of 5. So maybe a little bit shorter this time, but you know, still about that 20-minute mark. Looking at some of these, again, this is just kind of where I'm coming from as a LEGO fan, with what I know. So I've seen Avatar. I haven't seen the show that Red Dwarf. I haven't seen Red Dwarf at all. I don't think it's very big here in the US, but Avatar is. So these things all come into play when LEGO is looking at what Ideas projects to move ahead with, which ones are going to be left at this stage. And then of course with our open MRI thing here, start to ask the question, how did this make it to 10,000 supporters? And possibly one of the reasons that LEGO has been looking into some of the policy reform for the Ideas platform. That's worth doing another video on at some point as well, but I think before I talk about that more, I'll try to finish up some of the other projects in this list of 25 that was published a couple weeks ago. So stay tuned for those, and we'll see you next time on Brick System Brothers.